if you're raised and reared in that way, of course it's going to seep through you. So I always say words are powerful, speak wisely, because the things that we take in, our psyche, our body, our ears, it comes out and then right out of our mouths.
Welcome to Women We Should Know with international speaker, mindset reset mentor, author, and your host, Leslie Michaels. With audacious honesty and candor, the Women We Should Know podcast presents the wisdom and life-empowering insights of women who are the embodiments of innovation and social evolution. Please join Leslie as she shares potent conversations that will inspire your personal and professional evolutions.
Welcome back to Women We Should Know. It is always the best part of my day when I get to sit and talk with an amazing woman who is doing incredible things in the world. And on top of that, bring that conversation to all of you. And so that is exactly what we're going to do today. That is the purpose of Women We Should Know, is to bring the voices, the actions, the innovations of incredible, fierce, audacious women for you to hear, from you to gain from, and for you to be inspired by. And today we have just such a woman. While Lori has spent her entire life in music, she has shared this with her two children. Lauren is a doctoral English candidate attending Emory University, and she is also an accomplished musician who has released 2 videos on YouTube. And Yusuf, who is 13, is scheduled to attend the Performing Arts Academy in Georgia and is planning to major in technical theater. Now, how did these kids get all these inspirations? From mom. She is an acclaimed international jazz and soul vocalist. Lori is a performing artist, music educator, songwriter, producer, vocalist, and musical theater actress. Now we know why the kids are doing what they're doing. Her organization that she founded, Positive Music for Positive Minds, sees Lori touring Austria, Germany, Slovakia, Russia, Switzerland, Czech Republic, and Ukraine, as well as Japan and across the USA. She performs in festivals and conducts vocal jazz workshops around the world. She's been an educator for over 25 years and has received many honors, including Outstanding Music Teacher and the 2007 Superintendent's Art Teacher of the Year Award and the 2010 Vincent E. Reed Teacher of the Year. We have to love our educators, especially with what they have been dealt with in last year and now a new year of we don't know what. So bravo to Lori. As a performing artist, she was nominated for a 2014 Helen Hayes Award as an outstanding lead actress in a resident musical for her role as the great Ella Fitzgerald in Ladies Swing the Blues, a jazz fable. Lori has received letters of recognition for her performances by President Joseph Biden, Speaker of the House John Boehner, and Maryland Senator C. Anthony Muse. She is currently produced and has released 5 CDs. Now we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about being a single mom. We're going to talk about being a woman in the music industry and even a woman of color in the industry, because these are all areas where women are challenged continuously. And I'm so grateful that this amazing woman has come to speak with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, Lori.
That's
Absolutely.
I'm like, wow.
I know. When you sit back and hear everything that you've done, do you wonder, how did I get all that packed in there?
I mean, it's pretty incredible. But since we've last talked, I've released 6 CDs, so that's a pretty cool thing. So my most recent CD has been released, and my son has already started his second week of school. So it's been a whirlwind already.
So life is moving on.
Yes,
Life is moving on.
it certainly is.
So, okay, we're going to do my little tradition. I love to give the guests an opportunity to tell our audience one thing about you that's not in your bio that you would love for them to know about you.
Well, um, I love double dutch. And that's something that nobody would probably ever guess. I love jumping rope when I get a chance, and I love, of course, to travel, and that's probably understood with all of the places I've had the blessed opportunity to be able to go. But I love traveling, and I love to eat, mainly Southern foods. I like Southern dishes, and like to cook.
Oh, well, you have me caught me at double dutch. I was thinking, what's double dutch? What's
So when you have
what's
the two ropes.
Now I understand when you said you love to jump. I never could do that, even when I was 6.
Yeah.
Kudos to you, girlfriend. Kudos to you that you can still do that.
Thanks. And the hula hoop will be fun too. So I like
Oh,
hula
now
hoop.
I could hula hoop like a
Come
champ.
on.
Yeah, that I could do. I
Yeah.
could swing my hips. I just
There you
couldn't
go.
jump in rhythm.
Yeah.
Oh, moving on. Well, congratulations on your 6 CDs. And I'm happy for you that you love
Thank you.
traveling. I know people who travel professionally and they hate it.
No, no, no.
And wouldn't that be torturous?
It's torture. I love it. I mean, if any place, anytime I get an opportunity to go somewhere new, I am thrilled to learn a new culture, to eat their food, and to, try to speak their language.
Yes.
I'm in heaven.
Yeah, especially to eat their food.
Oh my gosh, you got to have the food.
You got to have the food.
And drink the wine. So,
well, yes, of course. Or whatever is the fare of the day. You have done so much, from educating to performing in multiple different ways and multiple different arenas, and really pushed every envelope that tried to get in your way.
Mm.
What frightened you most, Lori, about taking the journey to become who you are today?
Failure, I think, is one of the biggest things we deal with that, makes us have that kind of apprehension to success. And,
That's right.
and not being able to win at something or to succeed at something is probably the hardest challenge to face. So I'm not a big fan of failure, and I've had my share of failures. And I think when it comes to the music industry, comparing ourselves to other people tends to be something that's in the back of my mind, because there's so many great vocalists, so many great educators, so many great jazz artists out there.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't help to kind of put yourself in the same kind of category and say, why is this person at this pinnacle and you're not? Why does this person have this opportunity and you don't? Why does this person know this circle of people and you're not connected? So waiting for your turn, or waiting for your chance or opportunity to come, tends to be an inner struggle. And I always try to make sure I speak with my own voice and not that of someone else's. But that is something that, I'm human.
Well, not only that, you're a woman, and women, that is a challenge for women.
Yes.
To be able to speak with our own voices, not the voice of the culture, not the voice of our whoever raised us, and their stories are still living in our heads. To be able to speak with our own voice, that is huge. Yeah. And I don't know a woman who doesn't occasionally find herself, I'm right there, hearing something come out of their mouth and noticing, that's not what I think. That's not what I believe.
Right.
That has nothing to do with me.
Right.
How do
That's
you deal with that when you get, I don't know, we tend to, most women tend to get in a little rhythm where you're doing that for not just one sentence, but a day or two. How do you break that rhythm and get back to your voice?
It's interesting you say that because in recent days, I've heard the voice of my parents. And I thought to myself, I would never, I would have never said X, Y, and Z in the way, in the fashion in which they would have said it, or I would have
Right.
never responded that way. I think a lot of that is innate. And if you're raised and reared in that way, of course it's going to seep through you. So I always say words are powerful, speak wisely, because the things that we take in, our psyche, our body, our ears, it comes out and then right out of our mouths. And to come back to your own voice, meditation and sitting in what your truth is, I think, is really what's important. And I am not 100% there, because I think that there are a lot of times I'm borrowing from others because that might be the right thing to do or say in their perspective or in their mind. But to be strong and to know what your voice is saying and to really sit in that takes a lot of courage. So I'm trying my best at almost 55 to do just that, to sit within what my truth is and to speak it.
I think it's great that you talk about the fact that you're not always there and you're
Mm-mm.
not completely there, because the truth is none of us are.
Yeah, right.
None of us are. Never and will never achieve that golden prize called perfection.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But um to know that and just to keep coming back, that's fabulous advice,
Well,
Lori.
I
That's
think
fabulous advice that you're giving our audience
I think
today.
Leslie, I think a lot of women are categorized as survivors,
Yes.
and we're survivors of many things, and
Mhm.
it could be um, societal survival, it could be domestic survival, it could be gender survival, relationships. It could be a lot of ways in which we survive, and I think that we tap into that inner spirit within. Women are so resilient. Women are so powerful, and women,
Isn't that true?
oh my goodness. And I have seen that within myself, that I'm able to come back and
Mhm.
sometimes stronger than before, or at least
Yes.
I know what not to do the next time.
Mhm.
So I think that that's one way in which we can kind of ground ourselves and just know that that inner voice, the intuition which we have as women, is definitely powerful, and we need to be able to grab hold of that
Mhm.
and trust it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, don't you find that in order to grab onto that next truth that you are, the next truth that we are at any given time as a person,
Mm.
we have to sacrifice something. We have to
Mm.
let go of some old idea or some old story. What belief, what story did you have to just sit down and walk away to be able to find yourself coming to the space of
I'm going to be very,
chasing that
I'm
great
going to be
self
very
that you are?
transparent, because we're both women, but as a Black woman, I think a lot of times being told I'm not good enough for certain things, or
Mhm.
and as a woman, period, not being able uh, to work well in the field of men.
Mm.
The music business is pretty tough. And
Mhm.
I think I have a tough shoulder and a tough edge about me when it comes to negotiating. But
Mhm.
a lot of times we feel that we're not worthy or not accepted, or we
Mhm.
shouldn't come to the table and have the same equal stance as others. And I think that that would be something that I try to just throw out the window, that, yeah, I'm deserving of this opportunity. I'm deserving of the space. I'm deserving of the recognition. I'm deserving. And you are too. So I have a wonderful thought that comes to my mind when I hear there's plenty good room in my Father's kingdom, and just choose your seat and sit down, because there's plenty good room for all of us to find where we should
Yes.
thrive. And I think for myself, to just ignore those voices or the people who actually tell you, oh, it's not your turn, or you don't have the look, or you don't have the right, we're not interested for X, Y, and Z reasons. And then on the flip side of that, when those doors do close, then there can be, I call them unexpected blessings, because oftentimes when a door closes, many more will open that I had no idea were waiting on me
Mhm.
to walk into.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. And as you say, being a Black woman, that there's an exponential increase in those challenges, an
Mhm.
exponential increase in deridement of you as a female by virtue of the fact that you are also a Black female. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And
I don't want to put words in your mouth,
let
girl.
me tell you, Leslie, I have to be very cautious with how I present myself, because the stereotypical uh, derivations of what a Black woman would probably say or do or behave follow us when we go into the workplace, or when we travel, or when we're in relationships. And I want to make sure that people see me for me. And
Right.
I love when I'm traveling, especially out of the country, because I'm able to be that ambassador
Right.
and represent, and not only just represent myself, but represent my family, my culture, my upbringing, and try to change the minds of people who have this preconceived notion of what I am going to do or what I'm going to present. So
Right.
a lot of challenges out there, but we just have to keep pushing.
Yeah. Well, keep
Yeah.
pushing because we need you out there, Lori. We
Hmm.
need you out there. There are all these preconceived notions and there are all these rules. It doesn't matter whether it's the entertainment industry or the Fortune 500. There are all these rules. As you have built this tremendous career, how dependent have you been on planning or strategizing or paying attention to those imposed rules? Or have you been more centered in listening to your gut and listening to your heart?
Well, now that we are dealing with a pandemic,
Mm.
it seems like we're all in this even keel, and I'm almost starting all over again. So I
How
think
so?
when it comes to performances, relevance in the industry, making sure that your face is there, your music is there, it's tough. And I find myself at this stage in my life listening to my gut more than anything. I don't
Mm.
think um, rules are made to be followed. However, all of the rules don't apply.
Mhm.
And all of the rules are not meant for me and weren't designed for me. So
Mhm.
I have to then create my own in order to have my destiny fulfilled, so to speak. So it's
Right.
like right now I'm trying to work on new music. I'm trying to make sure I'm that mom who's there for her son who's in high school. My daughter, thank God, she's very independent and she's grown at this point, working on her own life journey. But the rules that were there, the rules change. I mean, with the pandemic, things are shut down, venues are closed. So we have to come up with different avenues to reach people. And we have to be very creative in how we manifest these things. And copycat and borrowing and being like somebody else doesn't work well for me. And I need to make sure that I am doing what is good for me and what's true for me and how I'm able to approach people. And I'm pretty unorthodox in my approach when I'm either teaching music or when I'm performing. And I like the individuality and uniqueness that I bring to the table. So if I'm creating a rule, I want it to be for somebody else to follow, not necessarily for me to follow somebody else's rule. So I think, like I said, women are so strong and we are creative.
Mhm.
And during this time, it has allowed me to, and the word I think I used before was pivot. And I've heard that word so much. We all have to pivot to what works for us.
Right.
And in negotiations, per se, uh, the fairness and equality is not always there. So we have to demand what we are worth and believe that we are worthy of receiving those things. So I'm at that stage right now where no, I'm not willing to just do your rules all of the time. I think it's important for me to be able to say, this is what I expect. This is where I believe I should be placed. And if it's not accepted, then it's not for me.
That's right. I like the word unorthodox.
Mhm.
Yes, of course, I picked that word out.
Yeah.
How do you express that? How do you express that unique essence of Lori that is unorthodox?
Well, my journey is such where I wouldn't be where I am had it not been for, and I'll speak my truth, God's blessings, because um, the journey has not been so easy for me. And uh, I remember when I was attending Hampton University, I was studying communications, and I thought that I would be this amazing journalist, or I'd be an amazing radio announcer, or I'd be an
Really?
amazing television anchor. And the discriminations and the racial disparities that
Mm.
I faced caused me to again look outside of a box to create things for me. And so I needed to take an unorthodox and different, unique journey, which led me to working at Dimensions Entertainment in DC, and then to Capitol Records, and then traveling to Japan. And I'll tell you a quick story. When I moved to Japan, I thought I was going to get a job working at Sony Records over there, because there was a gentleman, and I won't say his name, but and he ran the EMI division. And we had talked prior to me moving there about getting a position and working at Sony in Japan. And the first time I had the conversation with him was, uh, so do you speak Japanese fluently? And I said, no. He says, well, we can't hire you. Click. So I'm thinking, my goodness, my life is over. I come to this new country, but then I flipped the script and I thought, okay, I'm going to reach out to people in my economy and in the neighborhood. And I started teaching voice in the home and piano, beginners piano, and directing choirs. And then my career took a different turn, so we can't always be stuck in the rules. I should have maybe taken some courses prior to going, but it was such a quick whirlwind of just getting over there. And I had my mindset on what was expected, but it didn't turn out that way. So we have to always have that backup plan. And that's when the unorthodox Lori shows up.
Good for you. And how like a man to have you, I'm just gonna say it. I don't mind saying it. How like a man to invite you to come over to Japan to work for them, and then not mention until you've turned your whole life upside down. Oh, do you speak Japanese?
I was hurt, just hurt.
That's
I was so excited. I was on this high when I went, just so excited. And I thought, oh my goodness, no.
yeah, that's just
It was
dirty.
devastating.
That's just dirty. Let's
But
just, oh, you're
we're
going to be nice and call it
survivors.
unfair. I'm going to say that's just dirty. That's
We were,
just all there
we're
is to it.
survivors, and we learn how to make that lemonade, right?
That's right. And
Mhm.
that is the bigger point, is that women do survive and women do thrive.
Yes, we do.
Um, I don't love the word survivors attached to women, because we're actually thrivers. If we're
Wow.
surviving, we're just barely getting by. We're
I
hanging on
like
by
that.
our
Okay.
fingernails.
I'm going to take that note.
But I believe we're thrivers. And as you went through and just picked up the pieces and made a new life for yourself in Japan, where did that moment come when you realize, no, I want to build this big life as a of course, maybe you didn't know in the beginning you were going to
Oh
be
no,
internationally celebrated.
I've always wanted to have that dream of performing. That has been my dream since I was a little girl. And I looked at superstars on stage and watched all of the, Tonight shows and,
Right.
just enjoyed entertainment. And I enjoyed hearing the applause when I did something that was good.
Mm,
And I thought this was, it was just part of my destiny.
right.
Has it been easy always? No, but I've always known that. And to build it, um, I can't even tell you that it was something that was a plan because um, I've been approached by so many great promoters or people who put on festivals or musicians. And Lori, we need you to come and do this. Or are you available? And I'm thinking, I had no plans on Saturday at 10 o'clock to go to a rehearsal and then do a gig at 6. But hey, my calendar was open and look at God, He opened that opportunity for me. Or I had no plans to, when I worked at the Best Friends Foundation, to direct the only non-professional vocal jazz group for the inauguration for a president. Who would have thought that I would have been afforded that opportunity, or to travel to these amazing countries where I performed and still connect with the people who are there? That is unexpected. Or to have the 6 CDs and have music all over the world shared. Or never in my wildest dreams did I think that that would be for me. However, I look at those people who have accomplished, and their level of success is even greater than mine. I mean, I drive by beautiful homes, and I'm grateful for the home where I have. But for me, I always think it's important to have that vision and dream. And so I dream bigger every day. I,
Good
I'll
for
drive
you.
I'll drive
Good
to
for you.
the fanciest of neighborhoods. I'll go to the greatest of restaurants on occasion when I'm able to, and sit there and just dine and be able to say to myself, yes, I deserve to have this experience. And I want that for my children. I want that for my students. Anybody I come in contact with, it shouldn't be just limited to some people. So I think when we
That's
dream
right.
big, the opportunities will come.
To live big.
To
Now,
live big.
speaking of your students, you have founded a wonderful organization around children and music. How did that come to be? And how is it that you move out in the world and impact these younger people?
Well, I taught for over 25 years, and specifically in Washington, D.C. And I had an amazing group of young people who I was able to impact and love on while I was there. I
Yeah.
had issues with some of the music they were listening to, and I would say to them on several occasions, "What is that you're bringing into my space?" Because I want it to be a safe environment for everyone, and everybody who's hearing what you're listening to is not going to enjoy it. And so lyrical content became one of my pet peeves.
Mhm.
And so positive music for positive minds came about because my belief is that what we absorb in our ears, in our mouths, through our eyes, impacts our whole body. And I would always ask the question to the students, do you think that the music you're listening to negatively or positively impacts you? And their responses were typical. And a lot of adults would probably say the same thing. It's like, it's just the music I like, or it's just the beat, or
Right.
I like this artist. It's not
Right.
necessarily what they're saying, if they're defaming or degrading or using profanity or speaking of violence. Oh, that's not the message. But I love their music, and
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
beg to differ. And
Mhm.
I'm not this snooty, I'm not that person. However, I think we need to really be careful with what we absorb, because I think that it takes on a different life if we hear it in excess. And so I find myself trying to share with the people I come in contact, mainly my students, uh, that they have a choice with what they listen to, with what they watch, with what
Right.
they what how much of a consumer they would be for a product that is not going to benefit them in
Right.
any way positively. So,
Right.
and it's not to bring down artists who think that it's okay. I just, for me and for my home and for my community, I'd like to be able to impact them in a way that would be a positive way, and so that they can be able to impact their children, and then it's a ripple effect. So
Exactly. And Harvard and Johns Hopkins have done untold studies proving exactly what you're saying.
you understand. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's not rocket science, and people, it's common knowledge that we can become what we absorb,
Yes.
and in our environment plays a big role in who we are and how we
Yes.
develop. And so, for a lot of my students, I was able to have the opportunity to work with students from all backgrounds, and
Mhm.
I wanted them to have that safe, loving, caring environment. And I treated everyone the exact same way. I didn't care what color they were, what religion. I don't care. They were going to get the same kind of mom, auntie, big sister
Right.
approach, and know that I'm caring for you and I want you to be able to have this experience and I want you to be able to share it with others in a
Right.
positive way.
Right.
And
Right. Right.
if we come with the sincere positive approach, I think it's received better.
Yeah, of course. I mean, even if they go down the hall and say, okay, she's gone, we're going to put her music back on, they learn to be respectful in that one moment. That's progress. That's growth.
We had a curse jar, and every profane word that the students or I or other educators who would walk into the room would use was $1.
Now
And
that's
I
some
remember
big
I had one
motivation
student,
when you're a school kid, a buck. Yeah.
and they knew the rule coming in, and I would keep it out, and nobody would take the money. I mean, it was a glass jar that had, it was swear jar written on it, and I think I got it from Michael's or someplace like that. But I kept it out, and the students saw it, and they knew coming in my space, we have to be kind. We have to try to use different words. We have to be able to, if I'm angry and I want to, swear at somebody, I can try to come at it a different way or have a different approach. So it allowed them to choose different vocabulary, and then it allowed them to be able to expand, and it was great. That experience was great. And when it came to listening to music, we would be able to, because there were times that I wanted to be able to hear exactly what they were listening to, and we would use the explicit versions. And it was just painful to me to know that our people, our young people, were absorbing such harsh, you know, approaches to whatever the subject matter was. And I thought, if I'm angry, do I have to say it that way? And so
Right.
I would often rewrite words to songs and then reread them. And it was so much fun. And the kids got a kick out of doing it. And I would also bleep out certain words. Oh, it was great. We had fun. And they understood that there were different ways to approach subjects, and there were different ways to approach scenarios. And we didn't always have to swear at someone or be angry in such a way that it was going to really hurt. And like I said, words are powerful, and we can't take those words back once they're already spewed out of our mouths. So,
And how did that translate into and inspire your organization that you take around the world?
which is so cool. I had several events that occurred at the school, and I was commissioned to do my program through the Wolf Trap Foundation. And I ended up reaching out to musicians and artists and community leaders to come to the school. And I ended up getting some pretty big names. And we had a big event at the school. And it was only supposed to be for a certain grade level. And it ended up where everybody wanted to come into the auditorium to see these artists who were there.
You were a hit.
It was a hit that, oh my gosh. And I thought, if I could just kind of take this concept and do the same thing, either by going to different schools or doing Zooms now, because we just did one that was a Zoom that was pretty fun over the summer, or taking just a smaller portion of it and doing the same program during the summer. The kids needed to be able to connect with people that they looked up to.
Yep.
And I was that person in the classroom. But when you have big names of entertainers, television, television celebrities, or radio DJs, they hear these people regularly and wanted to hear what they had to say, and they were glued. It was amazing, and I had been saying the same thing to them for months, but hearing it from someone who was there, not unlike the word idol, but someone they admired, just had a different approach. And so that's what I ended up doing.
Doesn't that make sense though? I
Yeah.
mean, if
It's like
our parents said something,
you understand.
yeah. But if our friend said it, okay, now it has some validity.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so you build this program and you've got these named celebrities coming in to inspire the kids to listen. And then how did you make the leap from there to taking the program international when you could travel on the road? And we hope you get to take it back on the road again sooner than later.
I'm hoping that too, Leslie. I was really, really fortunate to connect with people when I got a chance to go to Austria. Doing the workshop is one thing, but being able to take my business there or to the Capital
Right.
Jazz Festival, or I mean, that's incredible. So it's just been people who've said, we want to see what you're doing, and if you could be able to bring a little bit of that and share it. So I said, sure. So I've been doing symposiums and workshops. Switzerland was great. I had a chance to do a vocal jazz workshop, and I've done Russia was amazing, and Ukraine. So I'd love to be able to go back and travel and do those same things again.
Right. Right. And I think the majority of us understand we're never going back to normal, that normal died,
Yeah.
it's gone,
Yeah.
and that we get to create a whole new normal. That's pretty exciting to me. What is your vision of what that will look like for Lori's world?
Well, I was going to say my world opened up because of the pandemic. I
Yep.
was able to do connecting with people in the UK or in Austria still, or in the US across, just by this method here by Zoom, and so I'm able to take what I'm doing and expand it in a way that I thought I would never be able to do. So I'm looking forward to the day when I'm able to, connect face to face, but still I'm able to, I wouldn't have met you, I don't think, in this way had it not been for the
No.
pandemic. So the new normal has afforded us these opportunities to be able to reach people and connect. And I'm grateful for technology. I mean, I wish we had it years ago, because I mean, when my mom and dad were alive and I was living in Japan, this would have been terrific just to be able to have that connectivity with people. So I'm still trying to work on some things and share. I want the lag time to be a little bit different, because it's harder for vocalists to be able to connect and share, because if I wanted to do something with you, there's going to be a delay vocally. So I'm hoping to
Oh,
connect.
really?
Absolutely. We're not going to be able to sing together, but I can be able to teach and then hear their response. But I do
Well,
believe.
that's a gift to you, Lori, that we won't be singing together. I'll tell you that right now.
So I'm hoping that those people who are working, I know that it's going to happen where we're going to have it where people are able to do it in real time.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's your dream location? Someplace you've never been, but you've always wanted to go. Now that we're creating this new normal, and after what we've seen in this shutdown, I'm coming out of this committed to the fact that nothing stays on the shelf anymore.
Of course, Africa would be one, Italy is another. And I haven't been to every place in the United States yet. I've been to a lot of beautiful states, but I would love it if the US would know who I am vocally and then say, hey, we want you to come to our city in such and such a place and perform. And that way I could be able to share. So that's one of the things I'd love to be able to do. So yeah, I think being home in our home country is important, but I'd love to be able to travel again when the world safely reopens, and hopefully that'll be
Yes.
soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Going forward and coming out of COVID and starting to create whatever each individual creates, what is the one thing you would invite women to consider or to try or to dare as we move into this new space of whatever it comes to be?
Well, that's a tough one, I think, because I'm in a sense of transition. Like I said, I moved during the pandemic, and I'm a single mom, and daring to be who you are is not always easy. and acceptance. And I'll say it like this. I think a lot of times when we're in whatever field we are, there are going to be some blocks that happen along the way. And I would love for us to dare to either knock those hindrances down or find ways to go around them, and know that we are purposed. Our purpose is important, that we are supposed to be here. We're supposed to do what we're supposed to do, and find something new to create that's going to benefit us, and really seek our passions and not feel that we have to settle. That's a lot.
Oh,
I don't
enough with the settling.
Yeah, I don't want
Enough
to settle
with the
for
settling.
anything anymore. I want to believe that I'm a jazz vocalist who is destined for greatness, and I'm ready to travel and take on the world and speak it and believe it, and
Yes.
and I have a purpose that's important, and people need to hear whatever message I have to give.
Mm-hmm.
And it's valuable. And I want every woman to feel the same way, whether they're a great chef or a great educator or a great business leader or whatever they're doing, to believe that their purpose has value, that they're purposeful, and that they are supposed to be where they're supposed to be, and not take no for an answer.
And that's it at the end of the day. Don't
Mhm.
take no for an answer.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. In terms of your positive music for positive minds, as we come out of COVID, what is your big dream for that?
Well, right now that I'm in Georgia, I would love to have it in schools, and be able to take it to at least, I'm going to start small, and then I would love to be able to branch out and go to other states and take the program. I'd love people to go to positivemusicpm.org and check it out and say, we want to have you come to our school, and maybe we could be able to have the grants and funding to be able to have that facilitated in the program to supplement the arts programs that are there. That's really what I want.
Mhm.
And I want people to know that it's a program that works, and it's not just this fly by night, and it's dying down because of, we tried it and then COVID happened and it's dead. No, I want it to thrive. I want it to survive again, and I want it to be impactful.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for coming and sharing all of that with us. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
With your personal career, but also with positive music, positive minds. And we'll just all see that out there in the schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome, Lori. And I trust that each of you in the audience got some nugget, some bite of wisdom, some little kick in the butt to move forward if that's what you were needing today. Always, as always, I will have Lori's URL, her contact information, her album list, all in the program notes. So you know where to find those. You just go to lesliemichaels.com and go to podcasts, scroll down and find this amazing woman. Be sure and click, subscribe, and comment. And if you comment toward us, we will certainly reply. And if you comment for Lori, we always send the comments that are directed toward our guests over to our guests so that they can interact with you. So click, subscribe, and comment. We love knowing what it is you want more of, what it is you want different of. Speak with us. Let us know. And as we close out today, I just want to remind you, you are stronger and wiser than you know.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We hope you received inspiration for expanding your own social innovation and influence. Help us inspire others by sharing this episode and leaving your comments over at lesliemichaels.com/podcast. For more tips, insights, and support in creating a fully audacious, professional, and personal lifestyle you love. Visit our Women We Should Know community on Facebook.